Do you know what we're talking about? Let's rewind this video. Now look at this top part right here. Closed bowl. They closed down the top section of this arena because...
Look at that. Look at the entire upper bowl covered in tarps. That's not a renovation project. That's not a technical issue. That's the LA Sparks deliberately closing off sections of Crypto Arena because they couldn't sell enough tickets to justify opening them. And this is for a Caitlin Clark game. Let that sink in for a second. 2 years ago, this same building was packed wall to wall. They were bringing in folding chairs, cramming people into every available space, setting attendance records. 19,000 people showed up to watch WNBA basketball at Crypto Arena in 2024. Last night, 12,000. They went from adding seats to literally hiding entire sections behind tarps. That's not a decline, that's a collapse.
The Indiana Fever were in LA last night. The first time Caitlin Clark made her arrival in Los Angeles. The attendance for that game was... And last night, the attendance was... Caitlin Clark is out today for...
Here's where it gets even worse. Caitlin Clark played 16 minutes the night before in LA. 16 minutes. That's barely half a game. She came out after the game and told reporters she felt perfectly fine, completely healthy, no issues whatsoever. So naturally, the Indiana Fever listed her as out for rest the very next night. Rest? From what exactly? From playing 16 minutes? From feeling perfectly healthy? The NBA cracked down on this years ago. Adam Silver made it clear that teams couldn't just sit healthy players for rest without legitimate medical reasons. But apparently that memo hasn't made its way to the WNBA yet, because here we are watching the league's biggest star get load managed like she's a 38-year-old veteran with chronic knee problems instead of a 26-year-old in her prime who just told everyone she feels great.
Let's get right into it, shall we? Like the video, hype the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Shout out to Shira.net. 15 minutes before the start of the Sparks Fever game, I think the empty seats will fill in. 15 minutes before. And it's looking spooky. Shout out to John the Liquidator.
Now look at this footage from 15 minutes before tip-off. The lower bowl has some bodies in it. Sure, you can see people filtering in, but notice what's happening here. They've packed everyone into that bottom section to create the illusion of a full arena. It's the sardines in a can strategy. Cram everyone into the visible seats, tarp off everything else, and hope the TV cameras don't pan up too high. And you know what? It kind of worked during the broadcast. If you only watched the game on TV and didn't see these pre-game photos, you might have thought the building was reasonably full. But that's the problem. The Fever and the WNBA are playing optical illusion games instead of addressing why attendance dropped by 7,000 people in 2 years. They're treating the symptom instead of diagnosing the disease.
Tired of this shit. Ben Daniel, out. Open parentheses. Tired of the shit. Close parentheses. Fans are destroying this team. Still. Not watching. I hate how Caitlin is getting treated by Stephanie White. This is somebody who's been watching since year one. This is a name I'm familiar with. Luna, familiar with the name. I guess y'all will be playing hard tonight. Zone defense, actual screens, and more importantly, making layups.
The fan reaction tells you everything you need to know about where this situation is headed. These aren't casual viewers, these are people who've been watching since Caitlin's rookie year in 2024. They know the players, they know the rotations, they understand the game, and they're done. Still not watching. I hate how Caitlin is getting treated by Stephanie White. That's from someone named Luna who's been following this team for 2 years. This isn't a fair weather fan complaining about a losing streak. This is someone who invested time and emotional energy into this team and is now actively choosing to walk away because of coaching decisions. I care less and less every single day. Think about that phrasing. Not I'm disappointed or I'm frustrated. It's I care less. That's apathy setting in. That's the death spiral for any sports franchise. You can recover from anger. You can't recover from indifference.
I care less and less every single day. Cece is rested from last night's bullshit, you idiots. So disingenuous. I despise this decision. She isn't a glass figurine. Let her ball. Did Clark not get enough rest last night? Integrity report for the remainder of the season. Front office, questionable. We won't be watching as long as Stephanie White is coach. Either fire Steph White or trade Caitlin Clark.
But here's the comment that should terrify the Indiana Fever front office. I actually have tickets for this game, and I'm not going. I just can't watch anymore. I live 2 hours away from Phoenix. It's a late game, won't be back home till midnight, and I have to be up at 5:30 the next morning. I have supported this team in the past, but this season, the product just isn't good. Read that again. This person already bought tickets. They already made the financial commitment. They live close enough that a 2-hour drive is manageable. And they still chose to stay home rather than watch this team play. That's not about Caitlin sitting out one game. That's about a cumulative pattern of decisions that have made the product unwatchable even for people who've already paid for it. The next line is even more damning. It's not even just about CC anymore. Like, this coach infuriates me. The frustration has expanded beyond any single player. It's about the entire organizational philosophy. It's about Stephanie White's rotations, the front office's roster construction, the training staff's injury management, the PR team's messaging, everything.
To make this team watchable. Not a chance in hell I'm staying up to watch this. No chance. Da-na-na-na-na. No chance in hell. Na-na-na-na. Vince McMahon's theme song. F off, won't be watching. Not watching this Kelsey Mitchell dribble show.
Let's talk about what actually happened between 2024 and 2026 to cause this collapse. In Caitlin's rookie season, she played through everything. Opponents were physically brutalizing her. Chennedy Carter body-checked her to the ground. Alyssa Thomas threw elbows. DeJounte Carrington poked her in the eye. The referees let most of it go. And Caitlin played every single game, 82 minutes one night, 75 the next. She was getting doubled, tripled, face-guarded for 40 feet beyond the three-point line. And she never sat for rest. That created appointment television. Fans tuned in because they knew Caitlin would be on the floor, and they knew something dramatic would probably happen. Would she drop 40 points? Would someone try to injure her? Would she hit a logo three? You had to watch to find out. Fast forward to 2026. The physical play has been legislated out of the game. The referees are calling everything tight. Opponents can't touch her anymore, and now that she's finally protected, now that the league has made it safer for her to play, the Fever are sitting her for rest after 16-minute performances. It's completely backwards. They're bubble wrapping her precisely when she doesn't need it.
Repo, not even going. Have tickets, not going. Craziness. Suddenly rotations will make sense. Until White is fired, the front office is changed, and the refs get better, I have plans to literally do anything else. Nah, I have more important things to do than to stay awake and watch Stephanie White. Done watching. No thanks, not watching. Wow.
And here's what makes this situation even more absurd. The Fever aren't sitting Caitlin because they're blowing teams out and can afford to rest her. They're not sitting her because they've already clinched a playoff spot and want to save her for the postseason. They're sitting her in close games, in games that matter for seeding, in games against rivals. They're sitting her and then losing those games, which makes the decision look even worse in retrospect. Stephanie White is coaching like she's managing a veteran superstar at the tail end of their career who needs to be preserved for a championship run. But Caitlin is 26 years old. She should be in her absolute physical prime. She should be playing 35 minutes a night, carrying the offensive load, demanding the ball in crunch time. Instead, she's getting 16 minutes one night and then sitting the next night for rest. That's not player development. That's not championship preparation. That's organizational dysfunction masquerading as caution. The contrast with 2024 couldn't be starker. That year, the narrative was Caitlin Clark is tough enough to handle anything the WNBA throws at her. Now the narrative is Caitlin Clark needs to be protected from playing back-to-back games. How did we get from point A to point B? What changed? Because it certainly wasn't Caitlin's durability or conditioning.
CC half-court shot. Let's take a look at this. Caitlin Clark. First of all, when Caitlin Clark makes a half-court shot, you hear how her teammates are silent as a mouse? When everybody else makes a half-court shot, it's woo! Whoa! I can't believe you did that! Oh my gosh!
Now let's talk about what this means for the WNBA as a whole, because the attendance collapse in LA isn't just an Indiana Fever problem, it's a league-wide problem. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the rising tide that lifts all boats. She was supposed to bring new fans to the WNBA, increase TV ratings, sell out arenas across the country, create buzz on social media, and for one season, that actually happened. In 2024, WNBA attendance was up across the board, TV ratings hit all-time highs, merchandise sales exploded, the league signed new sponsorship deals, everything was trending in the right direction. Caitlin wasn't just moving the needle for the Fever, she was moving it for the entire league. But here's the thing about new fans, they're fickle, they don't have decades of loyalty built up. They don't have emotional attachments to teams or players beyond the one person who brought them to the sport. If that person gets load managed, if the product becomes boring, if the games stop being appointment television, those new fans disappear just as quickly as they arrived. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The tarped off upper bowl at Crypto Arena isn't just about one game in LA, it's a leading indicator of what's coming for the entire league if they don't fix this. You can't build sustained growth on the back of one player if you're gonna mismanage that player so badly that even her most dedicated fans stop watching. The WNBA had a golden opportunity in 2024 and 2025. They had mainstream attention, cultural relevance, and a generational talent who could carry the league for the next decade. And they're squandering it with terrible coaching decisions, conservative roster management, and a complete misunderstanding of what made Caitlin Clark appointment television in the first place. She wasn't must-watch TV because she was being carefully managed and rested. She was must-watch TV because she was out there every single night, playing huge minutes, taking impossible shots, making incredible passes, and willing her team to victories through sheer force of personality. That's what fans paid to see. That's what drove attendance from 12,000 to 19,000. Now the Fever are doing the opposite. They're limiting her minutes, sitting her for rest, running conservative offensive sets, and generally playing scared. And the attendance numbers reflect it. Fans aren't stupid. They can see what's happening. They can see that the product has gotten worse, not better, and they're voting with their wallets by staying home. The comment section tells the whole story, not watching. Get a coach in and a proper GM to make this team watchable. Won't be watching as long as Stephanie White is coach. Fire Steph White or trade Caitlin Clark. These aren't trolls or haters, these are people who desperately want to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball and feel like the Indiana Fever organization is actively preventing them from enjoying it. Think about how badly you have to mismanage a situation for fans to be begging you to either fire the coach or trade away your franchise player. That's not normal fan frustration with a losing team. That's fans recognizing that the organizational philosophy is fundamentally broken and needs to be blown up entirely. And the scariest part? The Fever probably won't do anything about it. They'll look at the attendance decline and blame it on external factors. Market size, competing entertainment options, economic conditions, whatever. They'll point to Caitlin's stats and say she's still productive in limited minutes. They'll talk about injury prevention and long-term sustainability. They'll do everything except acknowledge the obvious truth. They're killing the golden goose. Because here's what happens next if this continues. Attendance keeps declining. TV ratings start dropping. Sponsorship deals don't get renewed at the same rates. The WNBA's moment in the sun fades. And in 5 years, we'll all be looking back at 2024 as the peak that the league never managed to sustain. All because they couldn't figure out how to properly utilize the most marketable player they've ever had. The NBA learned this lesson decades ago with Michael Jordan. You don't rest Michael Jordan in marquee games, you don't limit his minutes when fans paid to see him. You ride that wave as long as it lasts, because generational talents don't come around often. The WNBA apparently needs to learn that lesson the hard way. So where does this leave us? The Indiana Fever are sitting at a crossroads. They can continue down this path, load managing Caitlyn, playing conservative basketball, watching attendance decline and fan interest evaporate, or they can make a change. Fire Stephanie White, bring in a coach who understands what they have, unleash Caitlyn for 35 minutes a night, and try to recapture what made 2024 special. Based on the trajectory we're seeing, based on the organizational decisions we've witnessed, based on the complete lack of urgency from the front office, I'm not optimistic they'll make the right choice. Which means we're probably watching the slow motion collapse of what could have been the WNBA's breakthrough era. And that's not just disappointing for Fever fans, that's disappointing for everyone who wants to see women's basketball succeed at the highest level. The tarps at Crypto Arena aren't just covering empty seats, they're covering up a massive organizational failure. And until the Indiana Fever and the WNBA acknowledge that failure and take real steps to fix it, we're gonna keep seeing attendance drop, fan interest decline, and the league's brief moment of mainstream relevance slip away. That's the reality. That's where we are. And if you're a fan who's been watching since 2024, you have every right to be frustrated, angry, and tired of the bullshit, because the product has gotten worse, and everyone can see it except apparently the people making the decisions.